Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mining Now. SMS Equipment is back on the show. I think you were CIM last year.
It was,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good chat about decarbonization.
So we're going to be talking about some heavy gear. It's going to be great. We've got Dylan McKinnon. He is the manager of mining equipment and technology at SMS. And Darren Chvojka, he is the product manager for Dozers at SMS Equipment. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to be here.
Where's your booth set up?
Just down the hall there, booth 1201.
Oh, that's a good location.
Yeah, you get you right as you walk through the door
right
there.
Right at the front, yeah. So I just want to jump into it because it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love all the technology, all the sensors, all the monitoring, all the consultation. DSS Plus is a sponsor. It's all great. But nothing beats the big dozers, the big buckets. Yeah. So what are we let's just jump into it. What are we focusing on today?
Well, we're focusing on the latest series of Komatsu large bulldozer, the Dash 8 series, which is built upon a strong previous generation of dozer already, but really talking about what has changed in these dozers, and really it's a customer-driven approach to the latest features on the dozer. Really, there's three pillars, which are improved operator comfort, productivity, and durability of the machine. All have been increased. So really, we just want to talk about what has happened to the dozer, why it's where it is today from the previous series, and really the great feedback we're receiving from the people that are operating the machine.
So these are already out in the field then. I know I should be up to date on it, but it's hard to keep up. I have to do a couple hundred interviews. So these units are out. Are they out in the Canadian market operating already?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah.
They launched in the market about 2 years ago, coming to the market. Yeah, we're seeing a strong demand. Like Darren mentioned, it's the actual feedback we're receiving from the operators themselves. They love the machine. They're basically asking for it at this point. So yeah.
So
really
what were they what are the specifics they were asking for before the machine came to market?
Well, actually, maybe before we get there, I'll just back up just a little bit to give a bit more of a history. The previous series of Dozer worked really well, but there were things that the operators and operations owners saw that could be improved on the machine. So it's important to note that Komatsu and SMS work closely together with the customer to go out to site, go out to the operations, watch the dozers, get the feedback from the customers, and implement those changes into this next series. So ride comfort was one where the improvements from the previous series dozer to today are marked significantly enough that when a new operator gets in, or an existing operator, they run the machine, and one of the first things they say is, wow, I can't believe how good this dozer rides.
And what is it about? Is it, I mean, I'm not a dozer operator, so is it the way the seat's designed? What's happening?
Well, it's a ground-up approach.
Okay.
We started with the undercarriage itself, the bogie system, how that any impact or boulder you go over, how that transmits from the ground level right up to the operator's seat. So many things come into play. The oscillation of your bogies to allow that track to fold over those lumps or bumps. The suspension system or the equalizer bar, both of those oscillation angles have changed. So, in other words, more of that action happens below the frame.
Absorbed.
Absorbed below the frame. Then from the frame to the cab, there's improved cab mounts to isolate again the next level between the ground and the operator cab. And then also inside the cab, it's a totally redesigned cab with a new operator's seat, much like in the haul trucks. And again, more insulation from that ground.
And is it noticeable?
Significantly, yes.
Yeah, and even ensuring where that center of gravity is on the machine, so the operator isn't experiencing any sort of pitching as they go over those obstacles, that it's kind of where it needs to be.
Let's talk about our Heavy Industry World Tour, brought to you by Savannah Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide. And Corporate Traveler Canada, helping companies travel the globe simpler, faster, easier. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's Heavy Industry World Tour. Does your mine plan keep up with changes on site? When it comes to managing a mine, you never know what's around the corner. When conditions change and you need answers yesterday, don't get held back by your scheduling software. With Micromine Elastri, you can explore a broader range of scenarios, rapidly test options, and slash your waiting times. Account for more in your mine plan and be ready with the right answers when questions arise. It's time your software matched the pace of your site's demands. Visit micromine.com/Elastri to learn more. CIM is Canada's leading technical institute dedicated to the sustainability of our industry. Members enjoy professional growth opportunities through CIM libraries, publications, webinars, societies, and the job board. Experience the CIM community firsthand at the Conference of Metallurgists August 19th to 22nd, ICARD September 16th to 20th, and the CIM Health and Safety Conference October 6th to 8th. Visit CIM.org for more information and join CIM today.
I'm just curious. I don't, what kind of time frame does it take? I mean, this was 2 years ago. I mean, that must take years, though, to develop, to get it to that model is actually ready to roll out, even while the other models are still going out the door, right?
True.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the ongoing involvement of the manufacturer with the customer base. Not afraid to be with the customer and hear what they like about the Dozer and maybe some areas that could be improved or tweaked a little bit for a better version or improvements in the
Is
Dozer.
that sort of obviously you're gathering a lot of that information essentially for Komatsu, and they're pretty receptive to hearing all that feedback.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah.
So I was going through last night. I was going through the information, and I don't have the numbers exactly, but I think the D475A8 has. I think on the website it says, on the Komatsu website, I think it says 18% increase in efficiency, and then I think the 375A is like 13% or something.
Right in that range.
Yeah, I might have the numbers mixed up.
Yeah.
But where is that coming? Like, where is that metric? What is that related to for the performance of the machine? Where's it coming from?
From a variety of things. So the Komatsu componentry, so your engine, transmission, final drives, all of that working in harmony with one another. That's another key point on the Komatsu Dozer. But increased horsepower and the cycle times. So as an example, with the Komatsu Dozer, that increase in horsepower in reverse helps with the cycle time increase, more productivity. So if you can imagine the Dozer doing a downhill push and then reversing back up to take its next cut, come down again, that increased horsepower allows that Dozer to back up that incline at a better rate.
Right.
So you're increasing your productivity and your cycle times.
And more comfortable, too.
And more comfortable.
Yeah. So the driver's operating a smoother machine with more power,
You bet.
essentially. Yeah.
You bet.
And that's and then what about the functionality on it? Are there any new functions, like how it like automatic features, things like that on it?
There are. Go
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a number actually that all equate to better total cost of ownership. So the lock-up torque converter in an operation basically will, when you select that, your Dozer takes all of that horsepower from the engine, puts it directly to the transmission, takes the torque converter out of the equation, and puts all that horsepower and tractive effort to the ground. Our Dozers have more track on ground and have great tractive effort in their standard operating, but when you put that lock-up torque in, you're transferring all that horsepower to the ground. So that's one feature. You mentioned autos. So operators can select their modes that they like to operate in. If an operator's comfortable operating in forward 2 gear, reverse 1, or forward 3, reverse 2, you can auto-select those features. So once you've programmed it in, you go through your day of operation, it's automatically doing that work for you. You're not shifting all the time. It automatically shifts on demand as required based on, again, Komatsu harmony through the components.
Wow.
Speaking to each other, they know what they need to do. When you get into a push load, they know to drop down the gears.
Sorry, I missed it. So is that something you program on the day? How do you sort of get to that?
Yeah, it's all, and I guess
there?
that's more of an intuitive thing on the machines where the customers interact with the machine. You go right into the dash and select which feature you want on. So if you want that automatic mode, you click on automatic mode. There's
Right.
a few others that actually are key items in this, and maybe I'll talk to that a little bit too, is shoe slip control. That's
I
used,
saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that's used. There's 5 different modes on shoe slip, and used in ripping or dozing applications, but soft ground or hard ground, and in conjunction with the automatic transmission, it does all the work. So on a conventional dozer, go back a few generations. I mean, Komatsu's had these two features, for decades. But going back on previous machines, you had to work your decel pedal for your RPM. This machine, once you select your rip mode or push mode, it'll automatically do or provide the proper amount of horsepower to the ground.
Use drone data to map, measure, and manage your work sites with survey-grade accuracy. Propeller transforms your photogrammetry and LiDAR surveys into a realistic, interactive 3D map. That map is where collaboration happens and accuracy wins every time. It's a cloud-based workspace for project teams to measure and manage their reality in real time from any device. With survey data, designs, measurements, and media in one place, the right data is always ready to go. It's time to replace rework with great work and make great work the status quo. Visit propelleraero.com to learn more. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com.
I was just going to ask, how about like efficiency of the machine? Does that help with efficiency?
It does.
That ties in?
So that kind of ties into your better fuel economy. It ties into, I just mentioned shoe slip control, and that's exactly what it is. If you think about a dozer, one of the largest costs on a dozer is your undercarriage replacement. So if you can,
We're just doing episodes about that.
yeah, if you can slow down that track so you're not spinning, and you're controlling that, you're not wearing your undercarriage as quickly. That goes right to the total cost of ownership, right to your bottom line.
Yeah. And you're getting that increased productivity. You're moving the material. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And is that like, because a lot of these machines, right, there's multiple operators on the shift. How is the feedback from management? Or like things like wear you're talking about? That must drop significantly from because one operator's a little rough for the machine, one operator's,
It does.
smoother kind. Yeah.
It does. And the interesting part about it is, operations typically they have many operators running the machine. Maybe you have one operator that's more productive using some of these features, and you can see that.
Yeah.
If they want to, maybe we'll talk a little bit about the technology side of it.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah.
But there's ways that they can measure as well. How well does the dozer perform?
Like built into the machine,
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. Yeah, let's get into it for sure.
Yeah.
So, which one of you covers sort of the technology arm of it?
Well, I think both of us, yeah. But
Both of us, but Dylan, yeah. Sure.
yeah, I can get into that a bit. So like Darren touched on a lot of sort of the new features of the machine, the advanced controls, what they're doing with the slip control. So layering into that as well is the machine platform now is basically going to be coming to market with a teleremote available for the machine. So layering into all the technologies that are built into the machine, Komatsu as well is going to release basically a remote control option where you're able to control that machine remotely from an operator's console located away from the machine. That could be on-site, that could be off-site, really depending on what you're trying to achieve there. When you're looking to use the machine in sort of those high-risk applications,
Wow.
other areas where you use the machine, I'll get a plug-in for myself. I'm doing a whole talk on teleremote on
are you?
Wednesday at 2 o'clock, so we can get into that more. But yeah, in addition to sort of that piece of it as well, it's a lot of the machine analytics, the amount of data we're actually able to get off the machine and provide. We're able to use a Komatsu OEM system that's integrated with the machine called Comtrax. That's free to the owner. It pushes the data up to the cloud. They can view all the information coming off the machine, track the machine, as well as they can take that into their own sort of business, work that into other B2B systems, use it where they need to. So,
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've never asked this question. I don't know how that's possible, but the operator, if you're doing a remote, is it a dozer operator or is it a gamer? Like who would operate that machine?
Typically, an operator
Would get trained?
or is already trained, and maybe they're not operating one machine, maybe they're operating multiple machines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you could probably speak a little more to that, but there is that compatibility.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you need to be, trained in how to use the machine. It's really a lot of the controls are the same. So the console they'll be sitting in effectively mimics the same control environment they'd have if they're sitting in the Dozer.
Yep.
But in terms of competency development, who's good at it, they've basically shown they can take anyone out of that machine and train them to work in that environment.
Yeah.
But they do see a lot of. We get into it and we kind of look at the retaining and bringing in new talent to the industry, the younger generation. How do we attract them? And they really do see that as sort of that generation that grew up gaming.
Yeah.
They don't need a lot of that 3D spatial awareness. They've kind of spent their life gaming. They can work
Right.
off a monitor, 2D, and you can drop them in the seat, train them up, and they're just as productive as anyone sitting in the machine. So,
Are we going to see how far is that? Like right now, what do you think roughly with the percentage of remote controlled operations are?
oh, as a
Like Dozers,
percentage,
trucks, like was it 1%? Like just roughly, is it?
yeah, I'd say
not-
it might be in that 1%. It's a small percentage today.
Yeah. Will it get to? Would it get to 50% at some point? Will it be a sort where Dozer, 3 guys like us, we come in and we're operating our Dozers? Like, is it?
It's a
could
great
it get
question.
there?
It's that there's a
With
lot
your
of
crystal
driving
ball.
factors there. I
Yeah.
guess at the end of the day, the number it'll get to, I think, will be driven by a lot of factors where we're even mining. As
Right,
we go into
yeah.
more remote locations, if you're not having to, bring in your operators and fly them in, you can have a smaller support team on site. You can have someone that's operating that machine from, right here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they go home.
Well, that's for me.
So it
I mean,
opens up
that-
a lot of different avenues for people to come into the industry and be attracted to the
I mean,
industry.
that's a big thing, like, especially people. Like, I'll use an example. Like, my wife's from a different country. Like, she's not gonna like me trying to talk her into leaving her family, the only family she has here. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, it would have to be a big number.
Yeah, that's right.
But a lot of people are in that situation where they're not going to uproot, and
Yeah.
that it creates opportunities where they would love to go sit in a room and operate a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had discussions with a lot of companies, and they're looking to go down this road, coupling autonomous haulage and other mining technologies that are established about creating sort of these remote operations centers where a lot of those functions on site are being controlled, like I said, from a central hub. This is nothing new. There's companies doing it in Australia and other parts of the world, and we're starting to see that kind of come over to Canada now with a lot of folks looking at how do they
really
build that.
exciting. Just before I move on from the technology piece, because I know there's a lot packed in, is there anything that we didn't cover? Just features that this unit has?
Actually, maybe a couple more on the technology side is selectable features in the dash, which are auto tilt, auto pitch for your blade. So once you select that, same with the ripper, auto store. So what that means is the operator goes into a push cycle. As soon as he flips it into the forward gear, it automatically goes to the cut mode. He does his push, he puts it into reverse. It brings
I
the
see.
blade back.
I was
So,
actually reading
it's
it through it yesterday. I didn't quite get how it
yeah.
worked. Okay.
Seems like a minute thing, but operator fatigue and repetitiveness takes that out of the equation. You're more productive.
Well, and he also
then-
just focusing on moving the machine, not this
Moving the-
other component,
100%.
safety. Yeah.
Same with the ripper. When you do your rip cycle, it's in the dirt the way you want it or in the material. As soon as you click it into reverse mode, the ripper comes back up into store mode. So as you start backing up, you're not worrying about lifting your ripper and going into reverse. You're doing one function, not two. So some key items there.
SMS, always growing.
Always.
How many locations in Canada right now?
Oh, we're up over 40 now, aren't
40,
we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
40.
Coast to coast.
Yeah, our latest is we've made a push into Alaska, so we're now servicing Alaska as well to the Canadian market. So we have 2 branches now in Alaska.
Wow.
Head count, I think we're up over 2,800 employees now
Yep.
to service our technicians, like I said, across Canada and all the different markets. Not just mining, construction as well.
I was going to ask, like, it's the construction side here. I mean, I feel like Canada's just warming up on the construction side. So I'm sure you're going to see a lot of opportunity coming out of there, or expecting to, right?
We are, right down, the housing boom, everything that's going on with the economy. Yeah, we see a real strong push there across the business.
Yeah, and then what about the mining side? Where is the hot spot for you now, and sort of where are you seeing it going to? Because that's sort of an evolving industry right now as well.
It is, yeah. It's really the big push we're seeing. There's still lots here in BC going on. Ontario and Quebec is a big market. A lot of the critical minerals, a lot of greenfield operations that are planning to come online.
Yeah, Ontario's really throwing their
as well.
support.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do as SMS? I'm not trying to get trade secrets or anything, but just when you're watching a market, it's like those they're coming online, and you're like, okay, if a government changes, there's a lot of factors that go into if the shovel gets put in the ground. How do you sort of view that when you're strategically putting these new locations? A lot of investment, a lot of R&D. How do you sort of approach it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, again, looking at the market, like you said, seeing what's going on, but also being proactive and not reactive. So a big thing is actually, we're just opening a massive brand new facility in Timmins, Ontario, to be reactive to this kind of coming expansion and boom that we expect throughout the region.
Yeah.
What does a facility include? What does that look like? I've never been on an SMS equipment facility.
Yeah.
So that's a genuine question. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, we have our front offices. We have all our support staff that are needed there to work with the customer. We have our large parts warehouse and inventory, so bringing in the right parts as well. Across Canada, I think we have something like $750 million now worth of inventory to support customers. And then maintenance and fabrication. So, we can build the equipment right there on site. We can sub-assemble equipment if we need to take it to a customer site in pieces and build it there, as well as manufacturing or remanufacturing. So welding's a big part of our business. Yeah. We'll manufacture.
So with that welding, like those kind of components, is that at every facility, or is there a few main hubs that sort of those capabilities are put in place?
Most hubs have welding capacity for sure.
Yeah.
And shop space.
Shop space, and then our mining facility is obviously just scale up, so we can work on bigger stuff. So that's where we're building, dump bodies to spec, or rebuilding shovel buckets right up to the ultra class.
Actually, I want to circle back to the Dozers because I wanted to ask what kind of operations, like scale and even type of operations, are you seeing those Dozers go into?
Actually, we're seeing penetration into all the markets. So hard rock, oil sands, coal, copper, critical minerals. We're pretty much seeing it across Canada. So, and you know what? The response so far is all positive.
Really?
Yeah. Operators are really happy with the Dozers, to the point the operators are saying to other operators, you need to get on this machine.
Well, I was going to say that must be
cool.
fun when one of those shows up and then the guy is on the one from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and it's not just mining as well.
No.
That's the primary market, but we even see these machines going into big civil, infrastructure projects, big earth-moving projects as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they're working on like we had those floods in BC. I'm sure they just need to get the earth moved.
Need to move material. Yeah, they'll do it.
How long have both of you been with SMS?
You want to go ahead?
Sure. Yeah. Just over 34 years now with SMS.
You've been with SMS for 34 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a few days.
So when you say they're a good company, you mean it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I feel young here compared to Darren, but I've been with SMS 10 years this year. So,
have you seen what's the difference in the industry from 34 years ago? Where did you get your start when you started with them?
I actually started out in the parts area, parts department. So
have you seen were you seeing these kind of Dozers come online? How much has it changed? Even not just the equipment, but also expectations. People are more educated. I mean, I can go online now. 20 years ago, you couldn't go on and get all the data. I can do comparison down to the spec of this unit, right?
Yeah.
Within minutes.
Yeah.
How has it changed, even the interaction with clients over the years?
I think it's a much more positive experience today.
Is it?
Oh,
yeah.
Much more. The change in the machine itself is incredible, where it's come from to where it is today. But to your point, people are more engaged. They're asking more questions. They want to know more about the Dozers. Maybe years ago they knew a fair amount. Today people are very curious. They want to know how this Dozer is going to help their operation.
Right.
They want some tangible items on why our Dozer is going to fit their need. Yeah. So that's one of the bigger things I think that I see across the board.
So is it a more focused discussion then, as opposed to sort of this, the old sales tactic, go kick the tire and, try to do a sales job?
Yeah.
Those things are really gone now, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's more that conversation about, finding the right solution for their operation, right?
Exactly.
We can build sort of a mining spec dozer that's right for them. So when we look at, the blade configuration, right down to the ease of maintenance and kind of what these machines offer. And I don't know if you want to touch on that too, Darren. Yeah.
Changes in the dozer, talking about let's just talk about the blade group. So on our previous series, there was a little bit of sway in the dozer in operation. Komatsu, again, with our customer feedback, went back to the drawing board, redesigned the blade push group, and have taken that sway and those maintenance points away, reduced them significantly. So again, back to when the operators are speaking positively, they're like, wow, that's a significant change.
Right.
The durability of the machine, the mainframe life has been doubled. Same with the track frames. So what that means is down the road, when you're through your first life cycle, rebuilding a dozer, you can rebuild this dozer. That mainframe, you're not too worried about it. It's the backbone of the machine. So
Right.
Some critical changes in the dozer on those fronts.
Yeah, and then just quickly touching, are there any other sort of machines that are sort of jump out to you that these are good units that are coming online the last couple of years?
On the Komatsu lineup, for sure.
Yeah.
There's, man, where do we start?
Yeah.
Just to wrap up, if there's a truck or anything, just to bring up for the audience to showcase
Well, I guess
it.
our grader is probably the next.
Another big thing is, we recently launched a new mining class grader, GD955. So that as well has been selling phenomenally into the market. It kind of, it's filling a gap that was in the mining market and kind of that 18 to 20 foot mold board space.
I guess it's part of the reason. I'm just sort of shooting from the hip here, but just I hear a lot about people. It's hard to get people. I guess the machines need to now do a lot more work because it's that much harder to find. They need to be more efficient. All the operators, like a remote operator, it's harder to get people out to remote sites. All that sort of stuff. That must drive part of the demand, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
It does, and operator, at the end of the day, the whole safety side of it and operator comfort and ergonomics and ensuring, after the end of a 12-hour shift that you get off and you still feel comfortable, right? You don't feel like you've been beat up at the end of the day.
Yeah. I just want to zoom out just a little bit because Komatsu's been around a while. I think that's fair to say.
Very fair.
How long have they actually been making dozers?
They've actually been manufacturing dozers for over 100 years.
That's
It's
crazy.
a little known fact. A lot of people don't know that. And, the history of the dozer actually started with demand for farmers in Japan. But really, the
actual
dozer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's a really cool story. It's on LinkedIn. It's worth a read. But, over 100 years.
100 years.
It's a lot of history.
That's crazy.
It is.
So when back then, I'm sure there was less parts.
They were a little bit smaller.
Yeah, that's right.
They were a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
What's maintenance like on one of these machines nowadays? Like these new ones that we're talking about.
So it's interesting you bring that up. The maintenance points for this machine was one of the customer requests again. All service points on this dozer have been moved to one side of the machine, which is the left-hand side of the machine.
Really?
Ground level for the most part, from a safety standpoint. So quick fill, quick evac, and really the whole concept is to reduce downtime. So when you have a scheduled maintenance event or a non-scheduled maintenance event, we want that dozer turned around quickly. And so that was the aim of that development.
So you didn't go the route of making it like with the vehicles, just making it more and more complicated to service.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, it's actually
It is true, yeah.
It's a big thing.
It is.
I've heard complaints about that
Yeah.
in the industry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
that goes to the uptime piece, is that when you do have to do that maintenance, you want to get it done, and get it back to work.
right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
That's, and then what safety features have they focused in around? Like you're talking about ground level, so
Sure.
there's a safety feature.
Sure.
Are there other ones that sort of stand out?
There are, and actually, just before we step into it, it still is a safety piece. Is if you need to work on the radiator, which is in the front of the machine, or your fan, this series now has a swing-out door, swing-out fan cooling system, so you can work on that safely, efficiently, downtime.
So
is
that
minimized.
wasn't in the older.
That wasn't in the older one. And then if you have let's say you do have, unfortunately, an issue with the radiator, you can just take tubes out of the radiator. It's a Masabi style rad on both the 375 and 475. So again, you're not having to pull all of the equipment out. You can do it safely, get that machine back up and running.
Do you ever see those sort of features and go, oh, that's so obvious?
Every day.
How is that not done 20 years ago?
I know.
Yeah, and that kind of circles back to that kind of voice of customer, right?
It does.
Where we're constantly listening about what are their challenges. You know, it's one thing to design a piece of equipment, but then you put it out in the field, and you know, when you listen to that feedback and what they need, and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's kind of key to how we work with our customers in Komatsu.
And it's the old sit around the water cooler thing. I mean, the operators know. They know what the issues are. They know where the danger points. They know where things can get pinched and all that sort of stuff. They understand it better than anyone.
They do. And actually, you key in on a important point is that discussion from the operator to an engineer from Komatsu. Our engineers come out and talk with the operators. So it's not a 20-step process. It's direct contact.
And that's how you get these
and this
new
is how
designs.
we get these changes.
Yeah.
Right? Komatsu's very good with that.
That's the thing. When you put someone on the ground and you hear, there is something about looking someone in the eye and you hear a problem.
That's right.
You have to be pretty cold to walk away and go, oh, too bad. It does something to you when you're on site and you hear somebody going, oh, or someone got burnt or crushed or any of these things. It just changes the way you think about it.
Yeah. A few more safety features included on these machines right out of the box. We have safety tie-off points up near the cab for the operators or technicians if they're doing work. Full walkway, handrails, and toe kicks around the back of the machine if you're working on the cab or cleaning the cab. And then access and egress to this machine is pretty slick.
Yeah.
Power boarding ladders. So push of a button, that ladder comes down, you access the machine, and then push of a button, it pulls that ladder back up into storage mode. So you know, alternately, you still can get up on the dozer safely. We have hand holds and 3-point of contact, but the boarding ladder is the next step.
Yeah, I like comedy, so I was picturing the guy with the new dozer hitting his button and this other guy's.
One more thing on the maintenance, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
One of the most important ones, actually, is this dozer, it's Tier 4 compliant, but it doesn't require diesel exhaust fluid. So most Tier 4 models of equipment in the larger horsepower do require diesel exhaust fluid. These dozers, the 375 and 475, do not. So less touch points. The system works seamlessly, whether it's passive or active regeneration. Operator doesn't know. Operator just continues working. So
you guys must love having this machine.
Oh, we do. We do.
Everybody will have to catch up.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about something else. Oh, types of diesel. We did another, I won't name names, but we did an episode about alternative diesels. Yep. Does this machine work with that?
It does, yeah. So across the board, all the new Komatsu equipment coming to market, and even historically, it's all certified for up to 100% renewable diesel, or you can run a biodiesel blend in there as well.
Right.
So yeah, definitely the
so that's
focusing
all tested.
in on.
Have you done tests on like efficiency, power, all that? It's all good.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, you fully maintain your warranty. There's no concerns with the machine. You can fuel switch from one tank back to the other. So.
That's right. Yeah. And we actually have Dozer right now running with renewables. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it's great to have you on. Before the camera started rolling, and I want to say it publicly, I'm angling for some little models. So I'd like you to say yes on camera. Okay.
Yes, I'll commit to that. Yeah, we'll get you a nice one.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Of course, we'll have links to the dozers that we talked about and to the grader as well. And you can connect directly with Dylan and Darren. Just checking to see. Yep, you both got a LinkedIn, so we can put that in the link.
Yep.
That's okay. So you can connect directly with them. Of course, follow them at SMS Equipment on LinkedIn as well. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you to CIM for setting this all up for us here at CIM in Vancouver. We will see you on the next episode of Mining Now.